The trouble happened in London, and according to the Rock Against Racism campaign, it set the pattern for much of the subsequent right-wing involvement in rock music.
We're standing outside the Rainbow Theatre where Sham 69 played their farewell gig. On that occasion, something like half the audience were involved in Sieg Heil salutes, and that was organised around perhaps a core of 100 British movement sympathisers. They are organised in a number of different ways. They will try to organise their own entertainment, Rock Against Communism, which hasn't attracted many big-name musicians and is really the reason why they haven't succeeded with that particular campaign. They've also been involved in disrupting or attacking a large number of gigs. Certainly they've done this on a number of occasions with Rock Against Racism gigs. In Notting Hill, for instance, they attacked a gig we had organised with sledgehammers and crowbars, and 8 people were put in hospital. More recently, at the Rock Garden last Thursday, they attacked a punkabilly gig, and again, people were injured in the process. But perhaps most disturbing of all is the way in which the National Front and the British movement attached themselves, particularly to some of the bands who have a skinhead following, Madness, for example.
The National Front claimed that at one recent concert by Madness, they distributed 700 copies of their magazine Bulldog. But eventually, Madness issued a statement condemning racist groups. A brave gesture, since it might bring a violent reaction from those racists among their fans. Disc jockey John Peel says all bands with a right-wing following are caught in the same trap. But how far are musicians responsible for the extreme politics of their fans?
I don't think they're responsible for them at all, actually. I think the right-wing attitude, rather like as it is with football. I mean, you know, the West Ham players are not themselves responsible for the fact that a lot of people turn up at West Ham matches and stand at the back, stand in the terraces doing Sieg Heils, and it's very difficult. What are they going to do? Stop playing football? You know, they've got to go on playing football, and these people will turn up. There's very little they can do about it. I think they could go further in sort of publicly disavowing them, but then at the same time, particularly with a band like the Foreskins, they're really dependent on those people for their audience, and they're living in the East End. They make life very dangerous for themselves if they make too many public statements opposing the right-wing movements and so on.
When the Foreskins made their attempt to rid themselves of their right-wing racist image, they made sure that the fans at their secret concert in Kent were there by invitation only. It was to be a demonstration to the world that in spite of Southall, they were just a band who wanted to play music, a band who wanted nothing to do with politics.
Well, we won't stop playing till they turn us off again.
The concert had been going for only half an hour when things started to go wrong. First, there was a mysterious fault with the power supply. Then the fans took over. Some were wearing T-shirts decorated with the Union Jack, which happens, among other things, to be the adopted emblem of the National Front.
Why do you wear that if you're patriotic? Because it's English. It's English. Get to see no one's Nazi badges. No one's Nazi badges.
Paradoxically, some of the fans who claimed they weren't Nazis did indulge in half-hearted Sieg Heil salutes, possibly as a joke for the benefit of our cameras. If it was a joke, it badly misfired. At other bands' concerts, there's been evidence that neo-Nazis encourage fans to take part in similar, but much more serious flirtations with fascism.
I don't think people actually stop and think enough about what it is that they're doing, and I think they could, well, there are plenty of other images which they could attach themselves to, but of course there is the desire to shock, and this is a very effective way of shocking, because in most people's minds, the sign of a swastika or something like that is still distressing, you know, it distresses me, and so it's the shock value, I think, that's important. People don't actually stop and think about what lies behind that and the very real dangers that exist.